Advanced Studio Classroom is on the air. Would you like to try out some flashy footwear? We will talk about that and more today on our business article. Hello everyone and welcome to Advanced Studio Classroom. My name is Brandon and today we begin our business article. In the studio with me, I have, to my right, Linda. Welcome, Linda C.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And I have Albert. Welcome, Albert.
Hey everyone, it's good to be here.
What is the title of today's article, Albert?
Ooh, it's zeroing in on two trending companies.
Two trendy companies, right? What does it mean to zero in on something, Linda?
Focus in on or zoom in on.
Okay, that's right. So we're focusing on two companies. You will notice that this business article is broken up into two different topics. One is about footwear and the other is about an automated cafe. So there's some variety here, different things we are talking about, but they all come under that umbrella of trendy companies. And if a company is trendy, what kind of company would that be?
Well, I would say it's a company that, is fashionable. It's what we call hip. It's something that I feel like appeals to people that are just apparel or fashion conscious.
And it's maybe something that is popular or that is becoming popular,
right.
Or, may become popular in the near future because, a trend is being set by them potentially. Well, a shoemaker and an automated cafe show us how creativity can be put to use. What does a shoemaker do? That's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yep, they make shoes.
Which I feel like is like a narrowing profession or a dying profession.
Right. Yeah, this is a unique thing that this guy is doing, and we're going to talk about that today. But it does catch your attention because we don't hear about this very much, and so it's something interesting to find out about. And then an automated cafe. What is that, Linda?
Well, you see the word automated, and that's something that is automatic, that doesn't require a human to operate.
Okay. And so we are talking about creativity, and maybe you don't use a lot of creativity in your workplace. Maybe you do. Maybe you need something to spark that creativity. We hope these articles will do exactly that today. So our first article here, we're talking about artist flashy footwear comes in all sorts of styles and colors. That is our topic for the first article. So if you have your magazine, please go ahead and open it to page 30, and we will have our first reading for today.
Zeroing in on two trendy companies. A shoemaker and an automated cafe show us how creativity can be put to use. Artists' flashy footwear comes in all sorts of styles and colors. Shoes serve as a canvas for Raleigh, North Carolina artist Mike Phillips Jr. You name it, and he can probably paint it on a pair of Vans or Huaraches, sports teams, superheroes, cartoon characters, and patterns like camouflage or zebra stripes in nearly every shade. Galaxies are a popular design. Swaths of purple, blue, red, and black, speckled with white dots representing stars, wrap around the shoes. But Phillips' masterpiece is his heat-sensitive design. Indoors, a pair of shoes is one color, but as soon as the wearer walks outdoors, the shoes immediately change colors. Heat is the catalyst causing the change. Douse the shoes in cold water, and they return to their original shade.
Okay, so we are talking about shoes. And Albert, do you like to purchase all different kinds of shoes? Or are you more of a simple guy? You just have a couple of pair? tell us about your, fashion, your style.
Back in high school, I was advised by people who are wiser than me. They told me like, hey, shoes matter for a guy, especially when you're dating. So since then, I've made it a point to at least keep my shoes clean.
Okay.
But, just like I feel like I have the basics, like one formal pair, like leather shoes, one pair of sneakers, and just casual.
All right. And Linda, how about you? Do you like to buy many different pairs of shoes? I'm not trying to stereotype you because I know ladies tend to, buy more shoes. But
for women, it's very easy to accumulate a large collection of shoes. I tend to not be like that. I tend to be more practical. I like shoes that I can wear for a long time, but I still like shoes that are, fashionable. I've never been into athletic shoes though, and I didn't understand why. Like
really?
The guys, they just love, they will have a huge collection of, let's say, Nikes or whatever, like certain type of athletic shoe or basketball
shoes. But you
shoes
like
or whatever.
to bike, right? So...
I do, but recently, like in the last, I guess, 3 years, I guess I'm more conscious of buying a good shoe. Like if I buy a shoe, I want it to be of good quality.
Okay.
So I have invested a little bit more in athletic shoes.
Alrighty.
I have noticed a shift in my purchasing preferences as well. Before it was always like, oh, if it looks good, I'd rather have that. But now it's more trending towards comfort.
Yeah,
and
you're getting older.
No. It's just I'm more practical.
All right.
Because, we're working all day and we're standing or walking.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's very important to have comfortable shoes.
Yes.
Because,
It is.
It will affect your feet and how you walk and your posture. So it's good to have comfortable, good shoes.
Right. And these shoes here that we're talking about on page 30, I don't know if they're comfortable or not, but I think they probably look cool, depending on your taste. We are talking about an artist in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he puts art on shoes, actually. As we see the title there, Artist's Flashy Footwear comes in all sorts of styles and colors. That word flashy, Albert.
Yeah, so something that's flashy is eye-catching, it grabs your attention, it's usually bright, and it can be expensive in a way, just to get attention or admiration.
Okay, and so that is the topic of discussion today. We see that shoes serve as a canvas for Raleigh, North Carolina artist Mike Phillips Jr. So the artist, his name is Mike Phillips Jr. He's from Raleigh, North Carolina. And then we see that word canvas. Of course, they're tying into this whole art theme, Linda.
Right. So a canvas is what an artist will paint on when they're painting a picture or a portrait, but it can also be a figurative canvas. If you're an artist, this is, just the medium that you use for your art. But here, it's a literal canvas as well. It's the material of a lot of shoes is canvas. So he's literally painting on canvas.
Great.
Yeah, like the shoes Converses, they're known for having a canvas material. Yeah,
That's right. That's true. And many of you listeners may be familiar with that brand. Well, it says next, you name it, and he can probably paint it on a pair of particular shoes. We have two different brands here, Vans, and what is this other brand?
Huaraches.
Okay, and...
Made by Nike.
What's that?
Made by Nike.
Okay, all right. Well, so it says that basically he can do anything here with a pair of shoes when it comes to, putting his art on there, painting them. It says you name it, and he can probably paint it. If we use that phrase, you name it, that means anything you say, anything you come up with when it relates to shoes, he can probably do it. He can probably put his art on there. And so there is potentially a large variety here. And we get a list here of different things that he does and his type of artwork, right?
Right, yeah. So these are just some of the things that people have requested or that he commonly paints on the shoes. Sports teams, what your favorite basketball team or football team, whatever, he can paint on there. Superheroes, cartoon characters, different patterns and shades. Yeah, so it says,
Camouflage, right? And zebra
camouflage.
stripes, all sorts of things. And that word camouflage you may be familiar with. It makes me think of someone in the army, right? And they're wearing that green, brown, and tan colors. They're all mixed together. And the point of camouflage is that you blend in with your surroundings.
Right.
So there can be different colors.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be just the green, brown, and tan, but that is the typical, camouflage that we think of.
Yeah, but I like how, 'cause shoes are typically not camouflage in a color scheme. At least outside of military uses. So I feel like in the city or, in an office, it's really unique. If anything, it stands out. Like if you have a pair of shoes that are camouflage.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And people wear clothing that is in camouflage. So it's for fashion, right? It's not because you're trying to blend into your surroundings as you wouldn't be able to in an office setting.
Yeah,
Right.
I think they call that urban style.
Yes. And we get some examples there. We look at the bottom of page 30. We can see some of his creations, some of the shoes there. And one of the most popular designs, it's called Galaxies. And tell us a little bit about that, Albert.
Well, so Galaxies, I feel like is a recent trend. I've seen it on cupcakes and cakes on Instagram. And now, it's coming to shoes. It's swaths of purple, blue, red, and black speckled with white dots, just representing stars, like in a universe or like the Milky Way. You see those posters by NASA. It's like swirls of galaxies. Yeah.
The stars just wrap around the shoes and sounds interesting, Linda.
Yeah, why do you think galaxies are, depictions of it are so popular nowadays? Because, they've been around.
Yeah, it's been around a long time. You're right.
Years.
Well, that's a good question. I think that, why does anything become popular? Someone makes it look cool.
Maybe,
or,
yeah.
And they start a trend and people become interested in it.
Or maybe, it wasn't really possible before in cake form or shoe form, and now, they figured out a way. I have to say, it looks pretty rad.
We have that word swaths, okay? It says swaths of purple, blue, and red, and so on. And so when we see that word swath, it's a long strip or large area. A lot of times this refers to land, but here we are not talking about that. But you can just think of, a large area. Here we're talking about an area of the shoe, right?
Right, a strip or like a piece of probably fabric that they use to represent the different parts of the galaxy.
Okay. But what about his masterpiece? What is his masterpiece, Albert?
Oh, this is amazing. It's heat-sensitive design. So basically, I think it has been around for a while. I remember as a kid, in a cereal box, you would get these rings that would change colors based on supposedly your mood, but in actuality, it was actually the temperature.
Okay, and you said something there in the cereal box. So in the United States, at least before, I don't know if they still do this now, but you would get little toys inside some cereal boxes. And so, of course, that's great for marketing because kids want a particular kind of cereal because it comes with a specific toy. And so that's what Albert was referring to.
Right. But I remember this concept, heat-sensitive clothing. Maybe it was in the 90s. T-shirts. If you touched it, it would leave a handprint, or wherever, you touched it, it would leave a mark.
That is really cool. Did you own
I didn't, but it was really popular at some point. I remember, and it seemed really cool.
All right, so this isn't new. This has been around for a while.
Right. This concept has been around.
All right, so he has these heat-sensitive shoes, this design. So indoors, the pair of shoes is one color, but as soon as you go outdoors, the shoes change colors. So cool, right?
Right. I don't think I've ever seen this in shoe form before, so it's really
not in
neat.
shoe form, yeah. So this,
so that's something that's why it's his masterpiece, right? It's something unique. And heat is the catalyst causing the change. That word catalyst, Linda.
Yeah, so a catalyst is something that needs to be present in order for a reaction to take place. So the heat is is what is causing the change, the color change.
All right, but all you have to do is douse the shoes in cold water and they return to their original shade. And so if you douse something, you immerse it in something wet, right? Put a lot of liquid on it or over it. And so you just dip those shoes into the cold water and they actually go back to their original shade. Would you like this kind of shoes, Albert? I mean, my thought is, it's changing all the time, or not all the time, but it's different. It's not something I want to wear every day. What about you?
I feel like it'll be perfect for the person who has ADD, maybe? No. I mean, I'm just joking
very
with
moody.
them. Yeah, or I feel like it's really flashy. Yeah, we mentioned earlier. Would I want a pair? Maybe, if they're comfortable. Wait, no. Actually, if they're not comfortable, because, I'm not old and I'm okay with wearing uncomfortable shoes.
All right. Well, how about you, Linda? Are you going to go out and purchase a pair of these once we finish the program?
I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, I think for other people, it might be really cool, but it's not really my style.
But I feel like this pair of shoes can replace a couple pair, right? It's
That's true.
It's different colors.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
We should get a pair and check it out.
Yeah, maybe they'd look cool riding my bike.
Yes. All right. Well, listeners, we have more to talk about. Next, we will see how it all works. Let's have our next reading for today.
How it works. The majority of his customers find Phillips through his company's Instagram account at Sir Castle Tees, which has more than 140,000 followers. Customers choose a base shoe and then pick or describe a design for Phillips to replicate. Pairs start at $150 and go up from there, depending on the intricacy and time required for the design.
Okay, so how does all of this work? Well, the majority of his customers, they find Phillips through his company's Instagram account. And what is that, Albert?
Well, his Instagram account is at Sir Castle Tees.
All right. Well, so you can check that out, listeners. See more of his shoes there. It has more than 140,000 followers, probably almost as many followers as you have, Linda.
Not quite, yeah.
And I like how his, predominantly the way he contacts his customers is through his Instagram account, which, is really trendy and it just fits with the whole theme.
Right, it does. And so you can go ahead and check that out. And the customers, they choose a base shoe and then they do what?
Right, and then they pick a design or describe a design for Phillips to replicate or reproduce. All right, so they first choose a shoe, that they want, and then they choose what they want on the shoe.
Okay, and they're not cheap, are they?
They're not really cheap. It's so you pay for the base shoe and then you pay $150 for the custom design, which is, I have to say, kind of market value because big companies like Vans and Nikes, you can go on their websites and you can personalize a shoe as well. You can pick different sections with different colors, but nothing to this extreme where you get different logos and to the details, and also having a heat-sensitive color-changing properties.
I'm glad you used that word details because we're talking about intricacy here, and that involves detail, And so if something is very intricate, it has a lot of details. It starts at $150, but it could go up from there. And
right,
so that's
exactly.
the base price, but it could actually be more expensive. So that's something to think about when you are looking at these particular shoes. Well, that's how it works, but how did all this begin? So let's learn that in our next reading.
How it all began. His interest in shoe design started in high school. He started drawing on his shoes with markers before upgrading to paint from Walmart. Eventually, he started mixing his own paint, which takes several days to make. It took about 100 pairs to perfect the heat-sensitive design, Phillips said. Now, it takes him about an hour to paint a design on one shoe. He can finish up to 10 pairs per day. Philip's father inspired him to launch his own shoe business in 2013 and gave him the space to open a storefront the following year. My dad was the first person who believed in me, Phillips said. For now, Phillips is focusing on local outreach while continuing to dream up more designs. Shoes are a way of expressing yourself, Phillips said. I just have a vision for it.
Okay, when did Mike Phillips's interest in shoe design begin, Linda?
In high school, he started drawing on his shoes with markers, and then he upgraded to paint,
All right.
which he bought from Walmart.
Okay, so we've talked about this, maybe from time to time, about dreams that you have, and this started in high school. So maybe you have a dream that you had before in high school or college, and you kind of have given up on that. But maybe you should, check it out. Do something with it. Think about that. And I think all of us have had dreams in the past that we kind of said goodbye to. But here, this man had a dream, and we see it has come true here, right?
Right, I really like this. A lot of times I look at things like, wow, this is such an amazing concept or product. And for me, because I didn't see the backstory to it, it seems like it just appeared out of nowhere, the idea. But, usually a lot of things have really humble beginnings. He was in high school. It was something that he was interested in. He probably had an interest in shoes and drawing, and he kind of just melded the two together and just slowly worked on it. And he upgraded his process, going to his local store and buying paint. And then now we got to something as really cool and unique as heat-sensitive design.
And eventually, so he started with markers, then he went to the store, to Walmart, to buy some paint, and eventually he started mixing his own paint. So this takes several days to make, and so he started off small, and he just built on that, and that's kind of encouraging to us. We don't have to do everything at once. We start off small, right? Of course, we know that, but sometimes we forget that. Well, how long did it take him, Linda, to perfect the heat-sensitive design?
Well, he had to go through about 100 pairs of shoes to perfect that heat-sensitive design.
And maybe at pair 50, he felt like giving up.
Maybe, yeah. but he kept
going,
on,
right?
Yes.
Where did he get 100 pair of shoes?
I don't know. This is his dream. You make things happen. Maybe he went to his friend's closet and grabbed some shoes.
Or on the MRT, he's just painting on random strangers' shoes.
And some ladies have so many pairs of shoes that if he grabbed a few, they probably wouldn't notice they're missing, right?
They would.
Oh, ladies, we are just kidding, but of course. Anyway, next he says he can finish up to 10 pairs per day, or the writer says that. And so now, he has really sped up the process. It takes him about an hour to paint a design on one shoe.
If you think about it, that's like $75 per working hour for him now.
Oh, all right. But he started off small, and he's worked really hard to perfect this. And so, that's the process. This is how it all began. Who inspired him, Albert?
Well, his dad inspired him to launch his own shoe business in 2013, and he helped him out with giving him a space, an area so he can have his business, and he opened up a storefront the following year.
Okay, and so that helps when your dad has a space for you to open your store.
Yeah, also financially invested in him, in his business, so yeah.
Very good.
Good to have parents who support you.
All right. But if you don't have that, maybe you have a friend, or you can get some investors that believe in you. That will help as well. What does he say about his dad, Albert?
Well, he says, my dad, really touching right here, is the first person who believed in me.
Okay.
Yeah, way to go, Dad.
That's good. So
yeah, and that's probably more important than any financial support.
Right.
Just having his father believe in him.
Yeah, and that's a reminder for fathers, of course, to believe in your children, and it's good to have that support, right, from your family. Well, for now, Phillips is focusing on local outreach, while continuing to dream up more designs. And so he's focusing his efforts there locally, and he wants to do some new things. Come up with some new designs. So he's not finished yet. And what does he say here at the end?
Shoes are a way of expressing yourself, and he just has a vision for it.
Okay, he has a vision. That's important. If you are setting out to do something new, you need a vision. What's the plan? And so you maybe have a new business. You may be thinking of starting a new business. What is your plan? What is your vision? And so we see that Mike Phillips Jr. is a very creative man, and he's putting that to use. He had a dream. He still has a dream. He's dreaming up new things. He's not finished yet. But he's also giving back. He's not just, taking in money. He's also giving back to people. What do we see here in the sidebar, Albert?
Right. So it says, for some families who can't afford expensive shoes for their kids, Phillips donates his designs. Last year, he donated more than 100 pairs to the local Boys and Girls Club. Now, the Boys and Girls Club is just this great program, after-school program for students to go to learn, to hang out, and to spend time with other kids and mentors.
And I think it's usually, if not most of the time, underprivileged kids who go to Boys and Girls Clubs. And so he's helping out kids who probably couldn't afford his shoes. Mm-hmm. And he also helps out those who are making good grades, right, Linda?
Right. He wants to reward those in school who do well in school. So kids with all A's, they get a $30 discount. Those with B's get a $20 discount. And maybe if they didn't get A's and B's and they got perfect attendance, they still get a $10 discount.
What if you get straight A's and perfect attendance? Do you get a $40 discount?
Would you like to add him on? Would you like to add him on Instagram and ask him? You're bartering with him.
But this is great. I love that he's giving back and he's helping out those in need.
He's giving them incentive.
And he's helping those kids who are doing well in school. So that's great. And so you can check out at Sir Castle Teas on Instagram to find out more about Mike Phillips and his company there. We encourage you to do that. We thank you for joining us for day one of our business article. Come back tomorrow because we are going to be talking about coffee. And I hope that you will be interested in this automated cafe. Anytime I hear the word coffee, I'm there. I want to learn about it, right? We hope that you are the same. In any case, we hope that you will come back tomorrow and you would enjoy day two as well. Until then, this is Brandon,
Linda,
and Albert
saying goodbye.
Goodbye.